This is the besotted pride of West London podcast, and we're coming to you from. I'm in Virginia. Right, I'm not in Atlanta anymore. I've got on a plane this morning with Delaney man, and I got on a plane with Mark as well. And we've come up to Virginia. We come into Washington, which is like we thought Atlanta was hot, mate, but this place is blazing. It's been proper blazing, so blazing that actually where I'm now, we've had to hide underneath the canopies because the water, the rain was coming down. We had proper rainstorms here. Like I said to you, different environment, different vibes. I'm just here. But where am I now? I'm actually standing by a pool in Virginia with lots of Brentford fans because we're having the Brentford pool party. We told you we're going to seek out a pool party. We found a pool party. I've got my speedos in the bag, but I've been too embarrassed to pull them out, to be quite honest with you. But we're standing up here, pool party in Virginia. Loads of Brentford fans. Cliff Crown's just gone, actually. He's gone off into town like that. We've had a few other characters from the club here, but we've got the real fans here, hanging out here, and I've got the Kenkle in the house. Kenkle, if you don't know the Kenkle, USABs, go and check him out on Twitter, the USAB handle on there, and he's been organising all sorts of nonsense out here in America. The Kenkle, how are you?
I am doing great, man. Thanks for coming out. It's been an amazing evening.
Listen, thank you for inviting me to your pool party. I'm sitting there, I'm seeing Brentford fans here, swimming with the flamingos and all sorts of stuff. We've got Leo Sayer on there, who you know we met him a few years ago down at the the Griffin, I think it was, and before like a ridiculous, I think it was like some kind of Crawley Town or something like that, and we met Leo Sayer there, and he's going, "Yeah, go Brentford," and he had no idea what team he was supporting, where they came from, but you know, we like to perpetuate the story that Leo Sayer is a Brentford fan. But the Kenkle, just tell me about this, man. Like I said to you, wicked little party you've got going on here. Just tell us about your little USBs things going on.
Yeah, no, it's been brilliant. So we had a little bit of a party tonight. We got a diverse crowd of young, old, families, expats, locals, and those of you who came over from England. And we're about 200 and some strong now in the USAB supporters official list. It's probably double that if you count all the folks who haven't signed up. So it's been a brilliant experience. I mean, when I started in 2014, I couldn't find 15 of us, much less 100. So to see the turnout tonight and what's expected tomorrow and then on Sunday has just been absolutely mind-blowing.
And this is great. And again, you know, for us in England, you know, listen, we carry on and we do our thing because we're Brentford fans and this is our home. So for many of us, we don't really kind of, I don't want to use the word understand, but it's a little bit alien to us to think that there are people over, you know, thousands of miles away who are not only kind of just slightly into Brentford, but, you know, completely infatuated by the club. And like, you know, I've been out here again. Listen, we get lots of Brentford fans and we really appreciate you calling into the podcast, messaging us, coming down the globe, you know, buying us a beer down the globe, just out of the blue. Like, you know what I'm saying? People from all sorts, like, you know, from Arkansas and from Missouri and flipping California. And I'm just thinking, this is just getting out of hand, like, you know what I'm saying? But there really is starting to grow a big sort of kind of fan base. But the interesting thing that I found when I've been out there, they kind of sort of get the thing that we don't like to kind of we don't like to be like the Chelsea. We're not trying to be that kind of club. Everyone seems to kind of get that.
Yeah, the people who gravitate towards Brentford don't gravitate towards it because, you know, we sell a lot of kit or there's a lot of people walking down the street or we got the big names. They gravitate towards it because it's a family and club environment. The supporters that they meet, you know, the English supporters, when the Americans meet them, you know, they're really encouraging about teaching the history and what the background is, and they learn quickly to hate QPR and the stories around 67 and Alan Wood. Yeah, or Fulham. Well, I was going to get to that. The Fulham part is a little easier to hate for Americans, simply because most Fulham fans, their knowledge of their club is about an inch deep, simply because they know Clint Dempsey or they know Anthony Robinson or they know Tim Ream, and therefore that's their team because they're the American team. But the reality is the history behind it, where they were before Fayed showed up, there's none of that. Whereas I think that the U.S. fans, for the Brentford side, they're very keen to learn more. When Bees United puts up the story about what happened and how the club was bought by the fans and transitioned to Matthew Benham, there's a desire to learn more about that and to sit and listen and take it all in and then repeat it. So I think that sort of environment, the sort of collegial feel of the club itself, is something that is carried forward by the American supporters in a way that the other clubs just don't have at all.
And yourself, I mean, you obviously you are American. Yeah. Where are you from?
I am, yeah. I grew up in Ohio, and I've been in D.C. since 1998. So as American as you come, but I lived a couple of years in the UK.
And where do you live, and how did you get into Brentford?
Yeah, so I lived in Kew, across the bridge, like almost literally across the bridge from the GTEC. And when we moved there, there were, in the States at that time, 2012, when we moved, there was no access to the Championship or League One or the lower levels. Occasionally you might see a Chelsea match or a Liverpool match, maybe once a week on a Saturday. So when we went there, we tried to get some Premier League tickets. We couldn't get it. And somebody said, hey, you should really check out Brentford. It's like a short walk across the street, just down the road a little bit. I think you'll really enjoy it. So we showed up, and it happened to be the 2013-2014 season. And really, I like to take a lot of credit for the fact that, we were like third or fourth place when I first showed up to my first match.
What game was it?
It was Notts County.
You turned up at that Notts County game?
Yeah.
The one that we got promoted when Alan Judge scored the penalty?
No, well, that was PNE. That was Preston North End.
PNE, of course. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So my first
the game before that one.
Yeah, so I was at that game. The one that won me over was Crawley Town, which was like a Tuesday night. There were like maybe 2,000 people in the stands. And
I think that's the game that was. Maybe it might not go. Yeah, but I remember that game.
What was memorable about that game was that the Crawley Town was trying to come back late in the match. Ball went out of bounds on the Bremer Road side. One of the fans held the ball. Crawley Town player said, give me the ball. And the Brentford fans said, you want this? Crawley Town player said, yeah. And he chucked it right in the Crawley Town player's face. Okay. And it made national news. Right, okay. And so that was kind of what brought me into it. And then I think we saw Crew Alexandra after that. And then we were at the Preston North End game. We were on the pitch for it. I've got pictures with Will Grigg and Matthew Benham walking by randomly and behind one of our pictures, and from then on we were sold. To this day, I can still smell the pitch from being on the field that day.
So how often do you get to see the mighty bees?
So the company I work for is based in London, so I get to come over all the time. I try to time my trips. Recently it's been a little less because I can't get it to work right, but usually at best I've gone to four, 5, or 6, and at worst I see 1 or 2.
That's so good. And just how has this trip? I'm just thinking about it as an American. How has this been for you? Because, for us, we've come over here because it's basically it's a bit of a holiday. You know what I'm saying? It's a bit of a laugh. You're watching Brentford coming over. It's kind of cool. It's a bit weird because we have to remember it's a pre-season friendly, so it's not all blood, gut, and thunder. It's not like a competitive match. It really is actually a friendly. So it's almost like the perfect kind of, actually this is a kick football out of football experience, which we always go on about. It's like, don't concentrate on the football, concentrate on everything else that's going out there for you. But how important has this been for you?
So I think from the perspective of what's happening on the field and going to the games and getting ripped off, to be quite honest, for the chargings of what the stadiums are charging for certain things, that piece has been The best part about it, I think if you ask any American, if they said, would you rather go to the games or would you rather go to the private events and the club meets, at the meet and greets at the pubs, I think 99 out of 100 would say I'd rather go to the meet and greets. I'd rather go to the pub and hang out with the English supporters who are over here, learn from them, sing our songs, hang out, and just get to know the club a little bit better. That's been really, I think, what's been most important for our fan base, is to connect with the English fans, who some of them have never been over for a game before. So, to see folks like yourself and Laney and others, to them, it's something that is on the other end of the internet, right? Not necessarily something that they are a part of on a daily basis. So it's so important to us as Americans to have access to that and the fan base and the games and the training and everything else. We recognize that it is training. We don't care what the result is. It's about connecting with the fan base and the club. UBs.
The Allocation in the house here as well. And I met this geezer down it was at Griffin Park, wasn't it? It was Griffin Park. Yep. It wasn't even a new stadium. Forget that. You were original old school, right? Watching Brentford in the old school when they weren't even available on the TV. When people are going, I've seen Brentford on the TV and I'm really supporting them now. You were before that. And that impressed me quite a lot. And you were really happy with the Bees, weren't you?
I was, very much. I saw the Bees in 1995 randomly with my friend Mark Quinn. And we couldn't see him in the States until I Follow. And then I started watching the Bees, and then took my wife there at Griffin Park in 2019 because I wanted to see the old girl out. And, I'll always be a Bee. Always.
That's right. And the thing is, you've seen matches since you watch on the TV. I mean, you live in upper state New York, is it? You know what I'm saying? near to Buffalo, near to the Buffalo Bills, as it used to be, like I'm saying.
Rochester.
The Rochester, New York, and like. But it still must be quite difficult for you because, like, you watch the games, but you can't have a huge, raft of people up there watching games with you.
Nope. I converted my friend Dan, who's a former Manchester United fan. He is now 100% a B. He just came to Philly with me, and we rocked out that game. It was awesome.
That's right, and just thoughts because you were up in Philly, you're coming down to Washington as well. I mean, you've seen the breeze over a number of years, but from a USA perspective, a USA lens, what are your thoughts on our evolution?
It's unbelievable. It really, like we were saying, Billy, it's just amazing to see the growth. I think you have lifelong fans now. I mean, the product is amazing. The players, it's just, I don't know what to say. I'm really blown away. Seriously. And
this pre-season tour thing, we're kind of, me and Laney are trying to kind of write it off a little bit by saying, look, bit of fitness, bit of new players out there than ever. But on the flip side of it, there's a bit of a window in America. The Americans are looking at us. And I'm going to be honest with you. Be honest with me. Mm-hmm. Do you think that they're being impressed so far, or is it like a bit of this is a bit of a fluff?
Look, do you want real fans or do you want fly-by-night fans? And I think the bottom line is, if they're going to like the team, they're going to like the team, regardless if they win or lose. And it's preseason anyways. Thomas Frank, remember, he was 10-1, 0-8. He knows what he's doing. Like you always say, Thomas Frank knows exactly what to do. UBs.
Got the Nottingham B in the house. The Nottingham B, he's done the full Monty, he's done the full tour. Philly, down in Atlanta and down here. But not only has he done the full tour, he's done the full family tour. He's got about 140 people here with him. I'm saying, come down here. Listen,
absolutely brilliant.
This is your holiday, isn't it?
It's been absolutely awesome. I would recommend it to any Bees fan. Going from New York to Philadelphia, train to Philadelphia, watching the Bees in that amazing stadium there, and then obviously coming over to Atlanta to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Again, most incredible stadium that I've ever watched the Bees in and probably will ever watch the Bees in.
Is it more incredible because you've been to quite a few World Cup games as well?
I have, but that was still a dream for us, I think. And with the roof over, air-conditioned stadium, and again watching Brentford play really well. So what's not to love?
What's not to love? And tell me, because you're proper hardcore, like I said to you, Nottingham B, but you go home and away every game pretty much as well, and you've seen the Bees go to this next level out here. How bizarre. Listen, you're listening to this Tallahassee Bee speaking to this next character from, I don't even know where he's from. It's from Idaho or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're behind us. Chat. You and me, we chat all the time down the globe.
We do.
But we're looking around us by the pool, and we got this Tallahassee and Idaho, and then this next guy from Rochester, and then this other guy from California, all chatting away.
Incredible.
But how bizarre.
It's bizarre, but equally everybody's got a reason as to why they loved our wonderful football club. We come over here and come into someone's house. They've invited here on a text message because they've seen us put out something on Facebook or what have you. Open with open arms, then listening to how people come to support the Bees. Some of them have obviously never been to the G-Tech, but they've watched from afar, listening to their experiences of why they support the Bees and what it means to them, and they get the community feel straight away, which is absolutely marvellous. And it just makes you feel really, really proud of as to why we're here and why we love our Super Bees.
So this season, I'm just going to let's just talk nitty gritty now. You know what I'm saying? Because this pre-season, if you want to look results-wise, hasn't gone according to plan. But are you concerned?
Not at all. Not at all. I think the football we've played has been, at times, fantastic. Going forward, I think we've been really, really exciting. Obviously, only scored the 2 goals in Philadelphia, but we could have easily had 5 or 6 that day. So not concerned at all. I think in Atlanta, again, we were very unfortunate. We didn't score. Could have had a penalty, and I think the game would have changed. It wasn't to be. It's only a friendly. It's all about taking the minutes, getting the minutes in the legs, as we always hear, and also blooding in Nathan Collins, easing him into that, and obviously a good team building exercise as well. And I think that's what it's all about. And come first game of the season, I think we'll be ready.
And listen, I'm going to give a bit of a proximity reference here as well. I mean, I know we're in America, but you are a Nottingham Bee.
Yep.
Now, as a Nottingham Bee, there's been lots of rumours flying. I mean, listen, there's one player that we've been going for since back in the day.
Who's that?
Since he played for Lincoln City, and I know that because we went in for him when he played for Lincoln City on loan, and we didn't quite get him there because we didn't bid high enough, and then he played for Nottingham Forest and we didn't buy it high enough. He still didn't buy it high enough. We didn't buy it high enough. We've got into there, but we're still in the game. As a Nottingham Bee, how much would you like us to get?
I think he's a wonderful footballer. I think he shows out and out pace. I think he would change the way we play going forward and take us up a notch. I think already you got Mbumo, you got Weeser, you got Sharda. Again, 3 players that is going to be fantastic. But Thomas keeps talking about levels and building from where we've come from. And if we have to make a substitute, a player comes on of equal ability. Brennan Johnson is a player that everybody knows. He's got out and out pace, scores goals, he's a threat all the time, and he can play in a number of positions, which I think will be key to Brentford Football Club.
And I'm going to ask you as well, because I'm trying to get your Nottingham intelligence here.
Yeah.
Obviously, Nottingham fans won't be pleased if we got him. I'm not saying we're going to get him as well, but also, what's the feeling? Because I've heard it shifted a little bit with the Brennan Johnson thing before. Beforehand it was like Brennan Johnson is fully hardcore in the Forest vibe, but I've heard there's a little bit of a shift where maybe the love for Forest isn't necessarily as much as it was before.
Maybe not. I think there's been some rumblings. I think there's been a fallout between Cooper and Brennan Johnson, allegedly.
Allegedly, according to your underground sources, is that?
Maybe. But at the end of the day,
we don't want to hold you to it. But we need the information.
Yeah,
don't be vague.
No, absolutely. I think there's been something gone on there. I think there has been an injury that Brennan Johnson had from the start of January/February. I think they played him when they shouldn't be playing him with an injury. Then I think
did that upset him, or
I think it upset him because I think I don't think it was the best of injuries for him, and I think it's sort of had an impact now as to why he's not playing, and he didn't play for Wales, and I think that's probably one of the reasons. But equally, I think they got lucky that Taiwo came back for them at the time, and it meant that they could rest a player of Johnson's ability. Everybody knows Brennan Johnson's ability, and I think he would definitely improve Brentford Football Club. The problem is, from our point of view, is it's a lot of money, and we've gone from often spending money, peanuts in comparison, to now you're talking about a player that could be worth anything between 30 to 50 million.
We could have bought him earlier, and we didn't do it. But at the end of the day, if he's going to be a player that's going to improve your team, sometimes you can't always get players of 5 million, and that's just how it goes. And we could have got him for 12 million at one time, but we didn't do it. But if we think he's worth it, then maybe we might have to pay. And if we pay 35 and he's worth 50 million 2 years later, then job done, isn't it?
Totally agree, and I think you're absolutely right. And I think like we used to play, you used to go and pluck someone for 500 grand and sell him for 30. Now, with the times have changed, and I think we're looking to get to the next level, and he is definitely the next level in my opinion. I think it will upset the Nottingham Forest supporters, because I don't think that they think that Brennan Johnson should come to a club as, in their eyes, is nowhere near the calibre of a two-winning European Cup team. I think they think that he should be going to a team of similar capabilities, such as Aston Villa.
And as a Nottingham Bee, would that upset you?
If what?
As a Nottingham Bee, them being upset, would that upset you?
No, I'll be delighted if you come to us. I'll be absolutely delighted, and I think you'll have the last laugh. But at the same time, I think if I was a Nottingham Forest supporter, I think they'll be looking at it thinking that they've got FFP around the corner, and why is he going to leave us to go to a team like Brentford? From my point of view, teams like Brentford, and we've already shown that we finished 2 points behind Aston Villa, and we both know we were at the game against Aston Villa, walked them off the pitch, deserved to beat them until 90th minute equaliser, and that's football. And had it not been for that, we'd have been in Europe, and they wouldn't have been. So, it really is. We were one result away from getting there. I believe we talked about it last season. We may be 1 year too early. This is the year we can go on to do it, and hopefully we can go from strength to strength. UBs.
So more, well, I don't even know if I can call you American being in the house, because you're not American, you're not English, you're not. Where are you from?
About 9,000 miles south of the States, so Australia.
Australia, but you're here in America with a Brentford shirt on, who used to live in the Brook Road, so I'm completely confused. Tell me what's going on.
How did that happen? Well, moved over to England for a work secondment, sight unseen. We found somewhere on the internet to rent, and we ended up in Brook Road South, walking the kids to school, getting them enrolled. I saw this big line at this football stadium called Griffin Park, and I thought I'll rejoin that line and see what it's all about after I dropped the kids off at school. Came back, the line had diminished. Anyway, it was this whole Brentford versus Chelsea thing. I'd never heard of the Brentford Football Club, but I'd heard of Chelsea. And I said, what's going on here? And it's like some FA fourth round cup. I said, oh, that sounds awesome. I'd love to come see them play. And they said, well, do you have away supporter purchasing history? And I had to decipher that in my brain. What do they actually mean by that? And the answer was no. And I said, what?
So basically, people here are going to get confused about this, because this is back in the day when our ticketing system was so bad, right, that we played Chelsea in the cup, and this is the first time we played a big team like that.
Yep.
And people were so excited, they had turned up at the ground and queued around the ground to get tickets. So you'd come home,
yep,
and you just saw people queuing up,
yep, so
to get tickets. And like, people are queuing up for 3 or 4 or 5 hours just to get tickets to the Chelsea game, because
yep,
you couldn't get it on the internet then. You
yep,
had to get them physically.
100%. And so I got to the front of the line, didn't have away supporter purchasing history, but I said, oh, that's a shame, but we'll come another time because we live just over there. And the lady peeked her head out of the ticketing booth and said, oh, on Brook Road South. I said, yeah. Can you prove that you live on Brook Road South? And I had some, documentation, because I was signing up for gym membership, library cards and such. There it was. And she said, well, we like to look after the locals, like because of the traffic and the noise that the games create. So I think we can sort you out. How many tickets do you want? So that Saturday, myself, my wife, our kids were watching Brentford versus Chelsea.
You got battered.
It was the 83rd minute mark, 2-1. This was
at home. Oh, you got the home game.
At home.
Oh, yeah.
This was incredible.
In the FA Cup. Oh, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Unfortunately, Torres scored, evened it up, and a couple of weeks later, I was there with a workmate at Stamford Bridge. That game wasn't as exciting.
So that's when we got back. But the home game, that was wicked, because Rafa Benitez was their manager.
Yep.
They turned out on the pitch, and they came out, and Griffin Park was ferocious atmosphere in those days, smaller than our new stadium, and his Chelsea team, who had to change in a little shitty little dressing room that we had, like that. It was a nightmare for them, and they turned up, and the roar and everything like that. We went ahead. We were 2-1 up with like 7 minutes to go, and it was just absolutely brilliant, because we were in the third tier, the third division. We were in absolute heaven. It was amazing, wasn't it?
Oh, it's incredible, and being able to be so close to the action. We're right near the dugout. We could hear the manager talking about the plays, and just fell in love with the club. And the rest of that season, it'd be the middle of winter. It'd be sleeting. We'd be behind the dugout. If it was a Saturday afternoon, we'd be in the terrace with all the fans. Felt like a mosh pit sometimes when we would score a goal, but absolutely loved it. And got to Wembley that year. That was after seeing that.
That's forgettable.
Well, I refused to drive through Yeovil for the rest of my time living in England after that game.
Yes, wise move, that one. Yeah. And for the fans out there as well, we lost to Yeovil in the playoff final, because we technically should have gone up that year. We fluffed it a little bit, finished third that year, and we lost to Yeovil, I think, finishing 6th place in the final. So we again didn't go out up that year, and it was, I think, the 8th time that we had failed in the playoffs. The history is that Brentford basically have been really rubbish in the playoffs, so we lost the game. But listen, we're talking about positive times now. I'm just coming back to this now. You are here by a swimming pool in Virginia, Washington, just down the road. I'm finding this a little bit full of Brentford fans. I'm finding this a little bit surreal.
Oh, it's incredible. So moved back to Australia, then moved to Seattle for work. 3 years in Seattle, 4.5 years in Austin, Texas, and literally 5 days ago doing a work move to Virginia. And we were positive knowing that Brentford were coming. Bought tickets 6 weeks ago, hoping that the dates would align, and they have absolutely aligned. So my wife and youngest arrived yesterday, and we're all going to the game on Sunday. And first time being able to see Brentford outside of the UK for us. So I haven't seen a game live for probably about 6 years, when I was last in UK travelling.
Loyal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's right. I've seen the new GTEC Stadium outside of a game being played, but my last game was at Griffin Park, so I'm really excited to see them play here in Baltimore. So Maryland, rather.
Maryland. I mean, it's Maryland, Baltimore. We've got no idea what's going on here, but so just Brentford, and just in general. Since that game that you saw them, that first game that you saw them, they've obviously they're a little bit better. At the moment now. I mean, just talk to me about Brentford as of the new Brentford, the Brentford that played in Atlanta, Brentford that played in Philly, the Brentford that was tearing up teams last season.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing them on the big stage playing like the likes of Liverpool and Man City and Man U and Chelsea and Fulham, not just holding their own, but beating these types of clubs. It's just incredible. Like getting a top 10 finish. I think most of us were just praying that they would stay up after the first season and the second season, but they are just playing like dynamite there. And like Aussies really love the underdog. We always go for the David and Goliath. We are always going for that small team that's fighting above their weight, and Brentford's always been that club, and they just continue to keep on doing that and turning people's heads and surprising folks. So it's just a wonderful story.
And you've moved here now, so I mean, I know that the Kenkel has been trying to sort of expand his Washington B kind of collective. Are you in?
Oh, 100%. I was going to start a watch party series in Austin before we decided to move, and John's done all the hard work here in Virginia. I can just latch on, watch the games. It's an amazing set of supporters here, very passionate Brentford folks, and I'm pretty optimistic we're going to grow this. Americans are like Australians. We all love the underdog, and that's what Brentford is. Seeing Brentford just keeping on rising. So we're going to get a lot more fans. I think fans love that exciting, positive type of football where they are out there and scoring. So none of this defensive stuff. Just go out there and try and score goals. Goals win games. So I'm absolutely in, and I think a lot more people are going to be as the season kicks off again. UBs, come on UBs.
So there, that was the pool posse, and I'm sitting there with Laney actually. I mean, this is I'd say a few hours later, quite a few hours later. Actually, we're sitting here in a bar in Washington, just reflecting on what's happened for the past few days, but also reflecting on that pool party today. Different vibe. I mean, I'll ask you, how many pool parties have you been to in England? How many Brentford pool parties have you been to in England?
Yeah, not many. Yeah, I don't know anyone that's got a swimming pool.
Brentford Fountain Leisure Centre, maybe?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I have been there. No, it was really great. Incredible hospitality by John and his missus. And yeah, we're hiding from the torrential rain. Actually, it's the truth of the matter. It's been really roasting hot here in the afternoons, especially. Like 95 degrees, and then all of a sudden the heavens open and it's like biblical rains come down. Like we're sheltering from it in a nice safe pub. But yesterday afternoon, early evening, we were around the Brentford US fans' house, and it was rain bouncing off of his pool, and it was. It
didn't stop people going in the pool, did it?
No, it didn't stop anyone going in the pool. It stopped me going in the pool. But yeah, the food was good. The company was great. There was people from the club there. It was really good. It's just like I've said it several times. It doesn't stop surprising me how friendly people are towards us and towards the club, and people, USB's fans coming up to us and giving us like rare bottles of bourbon and thanking us for what we do and stuff, and it's been brilliant.
I mean, we can say that as well. We appreciate it as well. A couple of gifts came our way yesterday, bottles of alcohol as well. Lovely shaped bottles of alcohol as well, which is great.
There was the suitcase full of cash. Was good.
That's right. Indeed, it was. So, like I said, really appreciate it. But I think this is not about the fact that you've got this. It's more a fact that people seem to really appreciate the Beast. They seem to appreciate us, appreciate our team, and we're sitting down there talking about this today, and talking about with a few Americans again at the bar, and talking about, they were saying what you're here for. We say we're here for Brentford. They're like, who the hell are they? And then we explain to them, like, we're quite similar to Wrexham. Oh, we all know Wrexham. We're sort of more similar to Wrexham than we are to Man United, except for we've now gone through the ranks, and they were like, oh my God, this is so cool. And they sort of kind of understand it. But also, like I said, the conversation we had yesterday with the Brentford fans, we were just trying to say to them, I'm not being funny, why are you supporting our team? And they're like, listen, if we wanted to, we could have supported our big team, but we ain't gone for that glory. We're buying into other things, which I think is good. And looking back on a bit of social media and what people are feeding back, I think there's a little bit of concern from people out there that, that Brentford are going to Americanise itself, and you've got this American fan base coming in, and we're going to get to American and we're going to lose our soul. I think the whole point of this whole thing is that we actually ain't losing our soul. We're trying to tell everybody this is what our soul is about, and if you want to jump on board and get on board the gravy train, well, it's not quite a gravy train, the train, then that's fine. But if you're not in it, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and I'd say it's probably about sharing our soul rather than selling it. And it's the people that seem to be involved with following us from over here, they understand it. It's not about the glory. It's about the journey. It's just, it's about the quirkiness of us. And I share that vibe. I don't necessarily want it to change where we become. We've become Chelsea. I don't want to morph into Chelsea Football Club. But what I do want is for us to carry on doing the things we do well better. And all the time we've got the staff there and the knowledge there, and the brilliance of being able to read data and interpret what other players are doing in other teams. Then I'm up for that, more of that. So
I'm going to ask you a question. Go Bees. I mean, pull out things.
Controversial. Yeah. Is that the blood maybe go Bees here, but no, never go Bees at home. No.
I mean, to me, it was always a bit tongue-in-cheek. I mean, some woman just came up to me and handed me a Go Bees bracelet that I think that maybe she had spent the whole evening making, and she was hanging out to Brentford fans. I
thought you bought that.
Well, actually, I did.
A love gift.
That's right. It was lovely. I'm saying, but to me, I think there's just a bit of tongue-in-cheek.
Why
actually.
didn't I get one? I'm gutted now. I didn't get one.
I know why, but anyway, we won't go into that. But anyway, I think I see Go Bees as a bit tongue-in-cheek, and that's why we were quite happy to hang it up and show that all the big, because it is completely tongue-in-cheek, because it is so American, and Brentford are so not American, and of course we come out here, we have a bit of a laugh, but everything that we do, I mean, we've seen all these other teams and the teams that these other fans embrace, and they're more, they're closer to, they can understand that more, but we're not that. So the Go Bees thing, no, we're not taking over. For me, it was a bit of a piss take.
It was, but on the serious side, there is a new Go Bees t-shirt range that we're about to launch on besotted.com, so you can reverse. Yeah, no, that's not happening. It's not happening.
That's not happening at all. But anyway, listen, on reflection, I mean, like I said to you last night, great evening by the pool. We're waiting for the hurricane to ease off so we can actually get out here and get down to the meet and greet. There's another little drink up again in Virginia, which we need to get down to. It's quite far from here, so we need to get to that. But like I said, we're actually caught in the middle of this hurricane at the moment in a bar, which is not too bad. So we're waiting for that to die down so we can actually get out there. But we're going to come back to you on match day, on game day, after the game against Aston Villa over in, I don't even know where it is, some stadium over there somewhere.
Maryland.
It's in Maryland, yeah. Another state. We're going to another state. We're stating ourselves right up, aren't we? Like I said to you. So don't forget to check that post-match broadcast, prideofwest.london. My name's Billy Grant here, and I'm in, I don't even know what bar. I'm the Sud House bar, and somewhere in what's this called? the U train. U Street. This is the U Street area of Washington, and it's pretty cool, pretty hip.
You ate all the pies.
That's right. So anyway, but don't forget to subscribe to us on all good podcast channels. Don't forget to also buy us a beer, besotted.com/beer. Thank you to everyone who has bought us beer and come up to us and chatted to us and everything like that, and just, and been really, really friendly to us and all this as well. Don't forget to check us out, prideofwest.london, after the game in Washington. But we are going to go off and we're going to have a few more beers, then we're going to get in a train and we're going to go far away to the meet up. But we'll catch up with you after that one in Washington tomorrow, as we say,
Go Bees!
Go Bees! Go on, you bees! You mean.